We are still happily in the 90s. Let's get into it. We're still in the 90s. Now we're going to do my favorite movies, or my top movies from the 90s. And we're going to start off with 1990. Again, I'm going to list a bunch of movies, all of which I've seen at some point or another, or multiple times, most of them multiple times. And I'm going to give you my top three favorites and maybe a shout out to a fourth one, possibly on some of these years. But 1990 gave us Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, Pretty Woman, Edward Scissorhands, Misery, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, Days of Thunder, which is a fun Tom Cruise racing film, Another 48 Hours, Air America with Mel Gibson and Robert Downey Jr., Men at Work, that classic with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, Total Recall, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Paul Verhoeven, Dances with Wolves, which took the Oscar that year, which I never really cared for that film. I've seen it. I just don't think it's that great. Ghost, obviously Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze. Darkman, that was Sam Raimi's way of doing his own comic book film since he couldn't get the rights to do any other comic book film. Kindergarten Cop. Problem Child, I saw it in the movies actually. Marked for Death. Quick Change, which is a funny little, cool little flick with Bill Murray. Mr. Destiny. Back to the Future 3, we got the cap to our trilogy, folks, in that year. Home Alone, which is now a Christmas classic. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out that year. I remember going to movies to see that. I owned the soundtrack to that movie. I don't mind the movie so much, but the soundtrack's... Ugh. The Hunt for Red October. RoboCop 2. Rocky 5. Bird on a Wire with Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn. And Taking Care of Business. I would go number 3, The Hunt for Red October. I really, really like that film a lot. It's really well done. I know it's not some of the people, it's not their top one of that series, but for me, I really like that film. Number 2, I'll go with Misery. Number 1, Goodfellas. But my number 4, if I was going to give it a 4, I'm not going to do this for every year, but Total Recall. I love Total Recall. 1991 gave us Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Another film I got to see in the theater. Cape Fear remake, directed by Martin Scorsese. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Backdraft. What a great movie Backdraft is. City Slickers. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. The Secret of the Ooze. Hook. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey came out in 91. My Girl. Out for Justice. JFK. Double Impact. The Perfect Weapon. The classic film with Hulk Hogan, Suburban Commando. I'm just joking, that movie's terrible. Thelma and Louise, Boys in the Hood. What About Bob? The Addams Family. Hot Shots. Point Break. The Summer of Swayze. The Rocketeer. The Last Boy Scout. Toy Soldiers, which I really like that film. With Louis Gossett Jr. and a bunch of young actors that I'm drawing a blank on right now. White Fang came out that year. Showdown in Little Tokyo. Ricochet. The Hitman with Chuck Norris. Run with Patrick Dempsey. It's a cool little action film. I can't find it anywhere to purchase, but I like that movie. I haven't seen it in forever. And Eve of Destruction. I would go number 3, Cape Fear. I like that version of Cape Fear. I think it's really well done, and Robert De Niro gives a really good performance. So does Nick Nolte. Backdraft number 2. And number 1, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. On to 92, Rapid Fire. I just did a review on it a week or so ago with Brandon Lee. Trespass. Gladiator, not the one with Russell Crowe. The Boxing Gladiator with Cuba Gooding Jr. in it. I like that movie. It's been forever since I've seen it. Captain Ron with Kurt Russell. Basic Instinct, which actually is a good thriller. I know all the hype was around the nudity in the film, but it actually is a decent thriller, directed by Paul Verhoeven. Aladdin came out that year. Wayne's World. My Cousin Vinny, A Few Good Men came out in 92. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Lethal Weapon 3. Batman Returns. I really like Batman Returns. Unforgiven. Obviously Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman. We also had Beethoven, which has come a kid's classic. I know I watched it back in '92. My sister is younger than me, and I remember her watching it a lot. My son watched it a lot too when he was a little younger. Home Alone 2, The Mighty Ducks. I like that first movie. Under Siege, Passenger 57, Sneakers, A League of Their Own, The Bodyguard, Patriots Game, White Men Can't Jump, Reservoir Dogs, Universal Soldier, and Honeymoon in Vegas. I would go Reservoir Dogs at number 3, Few Good Men at number 2, and Unforgiven at number 1. I really like The Unforgiven. 93 gave us Jurassic Park, and between Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park, a breakthrough in CGI. Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, Falling Down with Michael Douglas, Schindler's List, The Nightmare Before Christmas, The Firm, In the Line of Fire, Cliffhanger came out that year, so did Demolition Man, which I just did a review for, The Fugitive, Rookie of the Year, Fire in the Sky, Matinee. What a great little film Matinee is. I'm going to do a review on that sometime. I have it on Blu-ray. Sniper, Rising Sun with Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery, The Sandlot, love The Sandlot, Mrs. Doubtfire, True Romance, The Last Action Hero, Wayne's World 2, Rudy, Tombstone, love Tombstone, Perfect World, Grumpy Old Men, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, Hard Target, Judgment Night, Dave, Point of No Return, and The Program. I would go number 3, Jurassic Park, number 2, True Romance, and number 1, Tombstone. I love Tombstone. I can't tout that movie enough. On to 94, we got Pulp Fiction, The Lion King, Forrest Gump, Clear and Present Danger came out that year, Wyatt Earp, which I do not like as much as Tombstone, Surviving the Game, a little twist on The Most Dangerous Game, Time Cop with Van Damme, The Crow, which sadly took the life of Brandon Lee on the set, The Shawshank Redemption, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, Speed, Drop Zone, Wesley Snipes, The Shadow, True Lies, Clerks, The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, Ed Wood, Beverly Hills Cop 3, The Specialist with Stallone and Sharon Stone, and On Deadly Ground. I would go 3, Ed Wood. Ed Wood's a fantastic film. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's in black and white. Don't let that scare you. It's a terrific film by Tim Burton, starring Johnny Depp. Bill Murray's in it. A slew of other good actors are in that film. I go number 2, Pulp Fiction. Number 1, The Shawshank Redemption. 95, we had Toy Story. The first Toy Story came out in 95. Bad Boys came out in 95. Outbreak, which I just did a review for that too. Batman Forever, and while I did not mind Val Kilmer as Batman, I do not like that film. Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey they're overacting so much it actually gets on my damn nerves in that movie. Tommy Boy, fat guy in a little coat. Casino, Money Train, Braveheart, Apollo 13, Die Hard with a Vengeance, or as I like to say, the last really, really good Die Hard. Waterworld, which was a disaster budget-wise. Showgirls, which is not a good movie. And again, I said this in one of the other videos. We'll throw Paul Verhoeven. We'll wipe that one clean since he gave us RoboCop, Total Recall, and Starship Troopers. Sudden Death came out that year. Congo. The Quick and the Dead, Sam Raimi directed Western. 7. The Usual Suspects. GoldenEye. Pierce Brosnan's first Bond film. Heat. Crimson Tide. Under Siege 2. And Cutthroat Island. I'm going to go number 3, Casino. Number 2, 7. And number 1, Braveheart. But if I'm going to give a shout out, I give Heat number 4. And if I was going to go 5, I give Usual Suspects. We're not doing that, but I'm just throwing it out there. 96 gave us Twister with Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. Independence Day. Mission Impossible. Happy Gilmore. Jerry Maguire. Space Jam with Michael Jordan. Fargo. A Time to Kill. The Edge. Sling Blade. That Thing You Do, directed by Tom Hanks. Striptease, which is not really a good movie. Kingpin. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Underrated action film. Escape from L.A. Kurt Russell and John Carpenter came back to give us a sequel to Escape from New York. Broken Arrow. Swingers. The Rock. Eraser. Executive Decision, which is a fantastic thriller with Kurt Russell and Halle Berry, and so on and so forth. Maximum Risk with Van Damme. The Substitute with Tom Berenger. Daylight, Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis. I really like that film. It doesn't get talked about enough. And The Glimmer Man. I would go number 3 to Rock. I know people aren't going to agree with that, but I love that film. Mission Impossible, number 2. And number 1, Swingers. 97 gave us Titanic. God, I saw that movie twice in the theaters. Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's well directed, and the special effects are great. But I can't sit through that movie anymore. I sat through it when I was younger. I can't do it anymore. And the second time I saw 2 grown men with their wives crying next to each other. I'm like, what the hell's going on? The Fifth Element came out that year. Men in Black, the first one. Austin Powers, the first Austin Powers came out in 97. Face Off with obviously Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. Con Air, The Lost World, Jurassic Park. And here we have 2 competing movies with the same general plot. Dante's Peak and Volcano. I saw Volcano in the theaters. Dante's Peak I didn't see till it hit the VHS. Jackie Brown came out that year. Murder at 1600. Breakdown with Kurt Russell, which is a fantastic thriller. Private Parts, Howard Stern's movie. Tomorrow Never Dies, another James Bond film. Batman and Robin, oh my God. What a shit show of a movie that one is. And Joel Schumacher had the balls to apologize for it. Good on him. Starship Troopers, which is way better than people give it credit for. Air Force One, Liar Liar, Kiss the Girls. Boogie Nights, Copland, The Game, directed by David Fincher. Conspiracy Theory, Fire Down Below, and Gross Point Blank. I would go number 3, Copland. That movie's really well done. It's directed by James Mangold. Sylvester Stallone's in it, Robert De Niro, Harvey Keitel. It's a really good movie if you've never seen it. Jackie Brown, number 2, and Boogie Nights at number 1. On to 98. 98 gave us The Big Lebowski. Armageddon came out that year. This is another year that we had 2 competing films with the same general plot, because Deep Impact came out that year as well. Thin Red Line, There's Something About Mary. Rush Hour, I'm not a big fan of that series. I never liked those movies for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's me, I don't know. Can't Hardly Wait came out that year. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. The Replacement Killers. Soldier with Kurt Russell, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. The Siege. Saving Private Ryan. Enemy of the State. The Waterboy. American History X. Wild Things, A Simple Plan. Very Bad Things, which is a cool little dark comedy. Lethal Weapon 4, U.S. Marshals, and Hard Rain. I like Hard Rain. That movie doesn't get talked about enough either. I go number 3, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Number 2, I go with American History X. And number 1, Saving Private Ryan that year. All right, boys and girls, we're on to 1999. The Matrix came out that year. So did Fight Club. Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. Oh, what a shitty movie. The Green Mile. Any Given Sunday. Varsity Blues came out that year. The World Is Not Enough. Another Bond movie with Pierce Brosnan. American Pie. That's what started a franchise that year. Toy Story 2. 10 Things I Hate About You. Office Space. The Boondock Saints. Chill Factor. Entrapment. And Arlington Road, which is a really cool thriller with a pretty good twist ending. Number 3, I go with The Green Mile. Number 2, The Matrix. And number 1 of that year for me is Fight Club. Now, obviously, these are my opinions. There may be something on my list that you like. It's not on there. Leave a comment down below. Let me know where I'm wrong. You might think I'm crazy. It's just my opinion. Everybody has their own opinions. Let me know what your favorite movies of those years are. Just give a comment. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Join me here. And I will be back soon. Stay safe out there, and I'll be back.